Welcome to the Midwest Game Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, John, and here with me today are Brian
Hey.
and Alex.
Hello.
Today, we've got a bunch of game news, and we're going to talk about some Tomb Raider action. But before we get to all of that, if you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNerds.com/links. And also, the Midwest Podcast Network now has a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the network. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month to help keep all of our shows alive and well. Check it out at patreon.com/MidwestPodnet. That's MidwestPodnet. Thanks again to Jason K. and Gojo for their contributions of at least $10. The Patreon's doing all right.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. As always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch, as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. That's all that intro is. What have you guys been playing?
I checked out the Mega Man 11 demo on Switch.
Yeah.
That game comes out next week.
Yeah, something like that.
It's still hard.
Yeah, all the Mega Man games are hard as fuck.
Yeah, it's tough,
Yeah.
but it feels good. It feels better than any of their other attempts at the 2.5D.
Yeah, and this is
have
like the
been.
first new Mega Man game in how many years?
It's been a while,
Not counting
8 and 9 are like retro-ish. They were new.
Yeah.
levels and everything, but they were in the retro style. But probably Mega Man 8 or Mega Man X8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which was quite a while ago.
Years ago.
It feels like a Mega Man game, which is really cool, and I like that. They do have new, what do they call it? There's the system where you can hold a button to either increase your attack, like it ups your damage, or
Like
you
a
can
charge?
It's not a charge. It's like you hold this button to like make your blaster more powerful, but there's like an overheat with it,
Okay.
and that same meter you can use to also slow down everyone around you.
Interesting.
So they have these like augments to make things a little bit easier, but yeah, they both build off the same meter and they will overheat and they have to go down before you can use them again. But other than that, it feels like Mega Man. I know people are a little butthurt because I didn't get to the boss, but as everybody has to do when you play a Mega Man game, you hit your charge shot and then you jump through the boss door and like float through it.
Yeah.
Apparently that doesn't happen in this, so people are like pissed about it. So they're probably going to have to fix that before launch.
Because that was always one of the cool things you could do.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
It has no effect on the
No.
game. It just looked cool.
Nope, yeah. So,
People are such babies.
yeah. But no, it looks like a Mega Man. It plays like a Mega Man game. And it sounds great.
Cool.
So,
It looked like it was a little more like vector style graphics as opposed to pixelated, though, right? They updated the graphics on it like big time.
yeah, I don't really know that I have the word. I don't. It seems slightly cell shaded and a little bit more like. It feels a lot more 3D than even like the previous 2.5D attempts they
Yeah.
had, like Maverick Hunter X and Powered Up that
The
were on the PSP.
2.9D maybe.
Sure, yeah, let's go with that. That'll catch on. But no, it looks very pretty.
Cool.
And the art style's great. I also put on my PSVR for the first time in several months yesterday, and I finally played some Super Hot VR. That game's incredible. It makes you feel like such a badass.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, the normal game on PC playing with a mouse and keyboard felt great, but the idea that like you are picking up a gun, shooting a guy, like leaning out of the way with bullet time, and then like when you shoot the guy, his gun flies at you, you reach out to catch it, and then you're like pulling it down to shoot at the right people. Like it always feels awesome. Like everything you do feels awesome in that game. And in VR, it's just as good.
That's awesome.
I'd still like you guys to try Robo Recall out sometime because that's pretty badass.
That's the one where you're like floating through space and shit or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no.
Which one was that?
It's the one with the Unreal Engine. I
Okay.
think, Epic actually made it.
Okay.
It's VR only. It's on the Rift only, I believe. But yeah, you're just going around like taking out all these like robots that have gone haywire.
Okay, now I remember.
And you can, you're pulling your guns out. you use two guns like the whole time
Yeah.
because it uses the
You're
touch
using the two
controllers.
controllers,
It came bundled with the touch controllers.
Oh, okay,
when
that's
those
cool.
First launched.
Yeah.
And so it's like a big showcase for that. It doesn't have like full locomotion. That's the only thing that bothers me about the game. You have to teleport to move. But everything else about it just feels good. Like the aim's perfect. You can actually reach out and grab a robot with one hand and pull on it with another one to like rip it apart.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Cool. It does make you feel like a badass.
That's the one thing that I think is missing from Super Hot for me is since I'm playing it on PSVR, the Move controllers don't feel as though they have as much
Yeah.
fidelity as using the. I don't know if this. It's probably out on both Oculus and Vive, I would assume by this point. But I think either one of those would feel even better than using the Move controllers for Super Hot.
Mhm.
Super Hot adds in the slow motion. Like the game is pretty much always in slow motion because as you move, time starts to move forward.
Ah.
That's the thing behind Super Hot. So when somebody shoots at you, you can see it coming for you, and as you move, it will start to travel towards you. So you have to like plot out where you're going to be in respect to like what motions you need to do in order to accomplish the thing you want to accomplish.
Yes, you're basically living in bullet time.
Yes, absolutely. And it always feels rad. Like there's nothing, there's never a minute that I'm not like, this is so awesome.
Like, could you duck down and like around a bullet?
Yes.
Yeah, see,
Yes.
that's cool.
Like I got an achievement, and the game does achievements in a really funny way, but I got an achievement yesterday for dodging 4 bullets at once. Because there were 2 guys shooting at me, and they all converged over my head, and I just ducked down. And when you get an achievement, it drops a Post-it note with the achievement symbol on it in front of your face, and then it falls to the ground. It was really, really funny.
Oh, so a game company figured out a way to show you achievements in the fucking helmet?
Yeah, and it was
funny.
It was great. Like I
Good
heard
for
the
them.
noise, and I was like, "Oh, I bet that was a cool achievement." And then the Post-it note dropped by. I was like, "Oh, that's it." So
That's awesome. And if you stop moving, does the Post-it note stop?
Yeah,
so
it
you can
just sits
actually
there.
read it? See, that's clever. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
So it was that was really awesome, and it just there's also a meta game to the Super Hot games that's even more weird and interesting. And
Is
I
it called
haven't.
Super Duper Hot?
No, it's just the. I don't want to explain
That's the
much
sequel
about it.
that's going to
Yes.
come out.
Much hotter?
But it's I assume it's only going to get even weirder than the PC one did, which is awesome because with the VR and everything, it'll get
I
even
should
crazier.
check that out. I
You
haven't
really should.
used my Rift in months either.
Super Hot VR, absolutely worth it. Normal Super Hot without the VR is also quite good.
I got that for free through Twitch Prime.
Yeah,
But not the VR version.
the
Unfortunately.
normal one.
I would like to try the VR version.
They're not quite the same game. Like I think eventually some of the levels are similar, but they're a little bit different, and obviously they play very differently. Like
Mhm.
playing it where you're in that space is even more immersive than sitting there at a screen with a mouse and keyboard. So definitely check out Super Hot and Super Hot VR if you can. And then I did finish Spider-Man. The third act of that game goes places that I didn't think the game could go.
How many times did you cry?
I cried maybe
You're tearing
once.
up now thinking about
Kind
it.
of
I
a
can
little
see
bit,
it.
but
I can see it on your face.
Alex's tears. They're
it's
back.
it's probably one of the best Spider-Man stories that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it's similar to Spider-Man 2, the movie. Like that is the ultimate Spider-Man story to me.
Oh, for sure.
But this game goes further than that and bigger and crazier, and the way that it humanizes the villains that are in the game is just insane. Like I didn't think it was possible for a video game to go that far, for a video game story to be that good, and this game is that good, and it's incredible. Like I think if you like Spider-Man at all and you were a fan of the Arkham games, there's no reason for you to not play this game. It's just great. And I think I put like probably 18 hours total into it.
That's it?
That's
I mean, that's
That's not including doing all the other crazy random shit.
There's a bunch of
other.
other stuff for me to mop up around the city. I
Yeah.
did do a considerable amount of those side missions. Right now, the only stuff that's kind of left for me to do are they have these hideouts that are just like, here's a bunch of enemies, who are going to throw waves at you, or you can try to eliminate them stealth-like, that kind of thing. And then there's like random crimes that pop up throughout a city, and there's like a quota for each district for you to do for each type of crime. There's like they have different ones for like different groups of villains. Like there's the prisoners, there's Mr. Negative's dudes, there's like the Silver Sable security force that Norman Osborn has hired for the city and like stuff like that. So I like, and the crazy thing is, like, I won't spoil anything, but the fact that like I walked into this game thinking Mr. Negative was it, you couldn't be more wrong. There's like, it's nuts how much the third act of this game just explodes onto the scene. Like I was flabbergasted when I completed Act 2. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know this is what the end of this game was going to be.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man's very good. People should play it. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's it.
Cool. Brian?
I finished up Donut County finally.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Sat down, for 10 whole minutes and finished it. It was awesome. I did purposely lose the boss fight to see that part. That I think that was better than the actual ending.
I don't know. I didn't lose that fight, but I should go
I
back
did
and
on
do that.
purpose
Yeah.
because one of you guys, I feel like, told me to, or somebody told me to lose on purpose.
You must have seen it online or something.
Yeah, actually, it might have been Giant Bomb. Those guys talking about
I
that.
don't know.
So,
But
I don't know. Yeah, but definitely worth losing the fight, which is really hard.
yeah,
Like you can sit there and do nothing, and like you lose chunks of health,
yeah.
but the chunks you lose get smaller as your health gets closer to zero. So it takes forever.
That's funny.
'Cause
Like
it-
they
because
don't want you to.
He doesn't
lose.
want you to lose.
Yeah, because it's like you shouldn't die in this game because that's stupid.
it's more zen than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely go back and try that though, because it's like a cool kind of Easter egg.
I like how puzzly it gets by the end. Like the
Yeah,
mechanics that they get to in the end of the game is what makes
Yeah,
me feel
I mean
like,
the parts where like you've swallowed the fire and then there's like fireworks that you have to catch in the hole to launch out to hit like different things. Like
Yeah.
that's I wish there was more of that in the game.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I could see him expanding on it more with like add-ons where it's just like puzzle based crap like that. Where
That'd be
it's
great.
all
Yeah.
it's like the Incredible Machine but made with like Donut
Oh
County.
man,
that'd be sweet.
So
love that game.
yeah, that's a
Incredible
classic for
Machine.
sure. So stuff like that would be really cool. What else? Anything else?
Just a hell of a lot of Destiny.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I'm totally sucked back in.
Yeah, right on.
I really like the Forsaken. It's done a lot for me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And one thing I want to add too is like that. Once the first crew to beat the raid. Well, once someone beat the raid, it unlocked other content for the rest of the player base.
yeah.
Like there's an extra strike, and there appears to be like a different story mission every week, like a new one in the Dreaming City so far
Interesting.
since that happened. Because what happens in the raid actually kind of changes the world.
Right. Much like them killing off Cade 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, whatever. But it's cool. It looks like they've figured out a way to kind of like evolve the content
Right.
through at least this season. So
So the campaign magically becomes more than just like 5 hours long.
basically.
That's
well, and
cool.
it's just more of a like. It probably feels like more of a lived-in world when things
Yeah.
can change like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there's an ongoing narrative, and I'm interested to see where it goes. Like that story goes places that you don't really expect it to toward the end. It's very cool. I look forward to you guys actually playing through it at some point.
I don't know. I don't think
So,
I'm going to pick it up.
Yeah, sure.
What are you close to trying the raid? Have you done any of the raid?
I
or-
haven't even thought about it because
Okay.
it's. I mean, I would love to try it, but I just haven't had that amount of time.
Yeah, you
It
still
took
gotta.
like the world first time was like I think like 19 hours or something. It's just so
Get
I
a-
mean
get a
I'm probably
job.
gonna wait till
Jesus.
I'm gonna wait till people like have it down better
Mm.
because I mean I don't know if I want to do the going in blind thing. I don't have that much time to
Yeah.
devote to it. I don't think I could scrape together the same crew for that to like knock it out in a weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely want to try it.
Yeah.
I've always I've enjoyed most of the raids. Like Leviathan I think's kind of weak, but even that like first time through was interesting at least. But yeah, I heard this one's pretty awesome too.
Cool.
Yup.
I played way more Into the Breach, like a lot of it.
Cool.
Like I have a lot of the achievements done.
Nice.
The achievements are extremely difficult to get if you're playing in normal. So
Yes.
you have to play everything on easy.
Did you move on to normal?
Yeah, I've done everything I can do in easy and gotten all of those achievements, and I've started attacking the normal stuff. I have beaten the game on normal. Like I've done 3 islands and then the last island. I haven't done the 4th island and then the last island. But it's like trying to do the achievements where it's like don't take any mech damage on any of the corporate islands.
Oh my gosh.
Trying to do that on normal is impossible.
Yeah.
Like there's no fucking way around that because the spawn rate of the enemies just like exponentially jumps and
Mhm.
like you're playing these rounds, especially like if you get to the ice island and like all of a sudden like you've got these enemies that can they've got at least 5 hit points and they're doing like 3 panels worth of damage times 3. So like each panel does 3 damage and they can hit 3 panels at a time. So if all your mechs are in a row,
You're screwed.
yeah, you can end up screwed.
Well,
if
I don't
like
know why you would ever arrange them that way.
I'm just saying it as an example. No, I try to avoid that actually. Although I do, I have had buffs that when I am adjacent to my other mechs, like we get bonus movement or like bonus,
Yeah.
like you get some other like weird buffs and things like that. But yeah, that game is like it gets way more elaborate, and like
Yeah,
I'm unlocking
for sure.
weapons that I haven't seen yet that do all kinds of crazy shit, like pushing different enemies adjacent or like launching me
Mhm.
across the map and like stuff. Like there's so many little things that like I didn't even know existed that I'm discovering. So
It's really cool, like how much you can change up your play style based on
Oh,
what
for sure.
units you're using.
I've unlocked all of the pilots except for 2 of them.
The pilots make a big difference.
Yeah, so each pilot has their own like skills and things that they bring to the table, and as you level up the pilots, you unlock those skills and things
That's
like that.
cool. Yeah.
It's way more elaborate for a game that's like whatever 600 megabytes, like isometric view, pixelated, 8-bit, 16-bit, whatever. Like it's so much more elaborate than you would ever expect out of that game.
I really like the music too.
The music is really cool. It gets kind of repetitive when you've been playing it as
Yeah,
much as
yeah.
I have.
True.
But-
That's the thing is like thinking about the time where those graphics were tied to the power of the system and what you could really do. The
Yeah.
fact that we're getting to a place where pixel art stuff is a conscious choice, but you can use the rest of the processing power of what's going on
for
to,
all
like,
kinds of other crazy shit.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. That's an interesting like divide in how things are working
Yeah.
now. So
No, it's great. I can't rave about that game enough. And again, on the Switch, it's just such a perfect. It's a perfect game for if you're someone like me who doesn't have a ton of time to sit down and play games. Where like I can pick it up and play a few rounds at the end of the night before I go to bed, and I feel like I got a little bit of my gaming fix in.
yeah,
And like I don't feel the need to like keep playing. Like I can put it down and just come back to it whenever I feel like it,
Mhm.
or even just the idea that like I've been kind of riding out with like one pilot because I have a pilot whose skill is that it gives every mech flying,
yeah,
which is awesome. That's an awesome skill, especially if you're playing islands that have like cataclysms and stuff where it like just destroys the board, but you
Mhm.
can keep floating and killing things. I've just been riding him through, so like if I die, if I lose a game and I have to revert back to the next timeline, I just keep carrying that guy through. There is a penalty if like you've spent your time leveling your other mechs up, but if you just focus on like the one pilot you're using at that time, like it tends to work out pretty sweet. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love that game. I can't rave about it enough. I did upgrade my hard drive in my PC, which is sweet. And I downloaded Sea of Thieves again, so I'm gonna hopefully
cool.
crack back into that, which will be cool. And yeah, I've been playing a ton of Rainbow Six, like a ton of it. I've been solo queuing a lot and
I did
doing
play a little
quite
bit,
well.
but very poorly.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, I'll pick up a round randomly just to, like, kind of stay on top of it and, like, keep my skill up because I love Rainbow Six. So, anyways.
I did join the Nintendo Switch online service.
So did I. I
I
didn't play any of the games, but I joined it to join it because I know I'm going to want to play the games eventually.
I played some Dr. Mario, and it's definitely Dr. Mario.
We should play competitively online.
That'd be great. Play the 2-player Dr. Mario.
It's $20 a month, or $20 for the year.
That's the thing about it is, I get that people are kind of upset at the idea of, now I have to pay to play these games online that I've been playing online for months.
I think people are super cheap.
But if it's $20, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a 6-pack of craft beer, so you're good. Like,
and it gets you a bunch of games that you can play. I mean, the only thing about it is that I don't necessarily feel as though it will do things like I don't know that Nintendo will grow this service and make it any better. I don't see a world.
They're going to add more free games.
They'll
I
add
hope
more
so.
free games.
I feel like it's slim pickings of what they've given
Yeah.
you because there are a lot of games that I'm like, I don't want to play this at all.
I don't care about Ice Climbers.
Yeah,
don't
I've
need
never
to play
even heard
soccer.
of Ice Climber until now.
Yeah, but is Balloon Fight in there? Because
Yeah,
probably
Balloon
will
Fight's
be
in
if
there.
it isn't.
It
yeah.
is.
That's silly too. What
And the
hell?
fact that they're only going to add 3 games at a time, like every
Yeah,
month.
they are adding Metroid. One of
in
the
like
months,
November.
so
It's like,
that's
okay,
cool.
fine, but
I don't know. Like they have Zelda in there, and they have the Mario games. So yeah.
the thing is that they kind of ate their own lunch. They're like, oh, here's the NES Classic. And then do we want to put all those games out on Nintendo Switch online for $20 if you already have a Switch?
They need to start releasing the Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games.
That would be really sweet.
Like those, because I know if I could play Final Fantasy Tactics Advance again, I don't even. That
And
would just be dangerous.
I mean, I think it's awesome that they've figured out the way to build 2-player, like online 2-player into these games.
Yeah.
But if you just gave me a lot of those Game Boy Advance games or whatever with save states in them, that's all
Right.
that I really want out of that. But it's just going to be like a drip feed of like, I don't know, side pocket at some point and like columns or whatever. I don't
Yo
know.
Noid.
Yeah, well, that would be
Oh,
sweet
man.
too.
Yo Noid was a great
Yeah.
game.
So, but yeah. So
For those who aren't familiar, Yo Noid was the platformer based on the Noid character from the Domino's Pizza universe.
yeah, for anybody who's old enough out there to know what the Noid
I'm pretty
is.
sure I played that game, but I don't remember it too well.
Well, and Sega just announced that they're going to do like Sega Genesis games
But
on
no.
Switch, right?
So that is they are bringing.
No, they've got a Sega Genesis
bringing
like
the
mini,
collection,
mini
yeah.
console or whatever, right?
No, well, they are. Somebody's doing one of those too. I'm sure, because why not?
I mean, I've seen that in Rite Aid for the past decade, but
the cartridge, they're bringing a collection of games that's already out on like PS4 and 3 or Xbox One.
and it's like Phantasy Star 2 and 3 and like
There's probably a Shining
Sonic
Force
1
and a
through 3.
Sonic.
Probably
and,
Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage, yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's cool, but I just hope Nintendo they're never going to have the voice chat in the console. I think that's pretty clear
Yeah,
now.
That's really annoying.
But they're never going to have an ability to like build a party who can all sit there and chat like that. I don't know. You can't even
But I
do that
think-
through the app.
But I think a lot of that stems from the idea that they want people to sit around the console and play together instead of like just being one-on-one, like on your own systems.
Well,
Like they engineered the
Yeah,
console
but
to
I
be
just-
that way.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's unfortunately not that realistic the way people
I
live their
agree. I
lives
mean, based on the
nowadays.
games that they're announcing, or like they're releasing a Fortnite Switch that comes with like 1,000 V-Bucks, and like those people playing Fortnite that would squad up, like how's that gonna work? You
Yeah.
know, like
I think ultimately I like the fact that they've made this console that allows you to sit there and have fun with it with other people without a whole lot of extra stuff. You don't have to buy a ton of controllers, you know, and a lot of the games all work with 2-player sitting there in front of the tiny little screen. But the fact that they can't kind of reach that parity, but they want to cater to things like Fortnite and, you know, whatever else is going to come their way.
Yeah, but
Warframe.
you may see companies like Epic and whatever the company that's behind Warframe, like they may push Nintendo in that direction, you know?
Yeah, we'll see.
It may be good for them down
Yeah.
the line, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of those like micro consoles, like the PlayStation, they announced the PlayStation 1. That's a news bit we didn't bring up in our news stuff.
Yeah, so they are making a PlayStation Classic Mini,
Yes, something like that.
if I can spell.
And there was an interesting conversation on one of the podcasts that I listened to where they were talking about how like you have that bit of nostalgic factor that like makes you want to buy this thing, and then you realize like I'm never gonna fucking play this because I can't stand to look at those graphics anymore, which is something that like I wrestle with all the time. Like
I have a little bit more tolerance for that. The thing for me is the fact that they're putting this thing out with the normal digital controllers with no analog sticks and no DualShock.
which means no Metal Gear Solid 1, right?
I think you could still play it.
I don't think you can.
I
'Cause
don't know.
It used,
I
it
guess
used
I
the
don't know.
joysticks for movement, and then it used the directional buttons for other tasks.
Like this thing, the games that they announced, it's going to have 20 games. It's going to cost $100. It comes with 2 controllers. Does not come with an AC adapter to hook up the USB cable to power it. You have to bring your own. But
Can I plug it into my laptop and just play on my laptop screen? Because that would be kind of cool.
no, it doesn't work that way. You still need to HDMI into something. But the games
Into
that
my
they
laptop,
have
I
confirmed,
can HDMI into my laptop.
if you can,
That'd be cool.
yeah. They've confirmed 5 of 20 games: Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms, which a weird eclectic mix of things.
All great games that were pivotal in the original PlayStation. Like,
yeah.
where's Kingsfield? That's what I want to know.
To be honest, like one of my problems with this, like you're talking about the graphics, that kind of era of graphics was the worst. Like those don't hold up well at all.
See, that's the
Like
thing.
early 3D graphics look like complete
But
shit
I
now.
think the PlayStation, the original PlayStation ones do hold up. I think Nintendo 64 looked like fucking garbage.
I think they both look bad. 64.
But
is
I could
worse,
play
but
Final Fantasy 7 and Jumping Flash, and I could play Tekken 3 and Wild Arms. Like, Wild Arms doesn't really count because it wasn't really 3D. It was like 2.5D kind of because it did 8-bit graphics.
2.90.
It was 8-bit graphics in the overworld, but when you went into battle, it was like a 3D background with like 8-bit characters that you were fighting
Interesting.
with or something. If I recall correct, I could be totally wrong. I don't remember. But
Well,
it's
and
been so long.
I think this movie or this news story, because it did remind me of the fact that the Wild Arms theme is
really
so
good.
awesome.
Yeah, all
It's
the
so
music
good.
in that game was great.
It's cool. I did pre-order one, but I think I'll probably end up canceling it because I feel like most of the games that are going to be on here I probably own several ways as well, and there's no real like advantage to me having this thing other than it hooks up by HDMI.
Well, and that was Xbox's response was like, hey, we've got backwards compatibility with all the games you already own. You can just put the disc in your current Xbox One and play it. You know, like over 500 games available right now. Like,
yeah, like that. The fact you can, so with the PlayStation 3, you can put pretty much any PS1 game in it and play it. There's like a couple titles that don't work properly because it's using software emulation. I just really wish they could bring that over to the PS4. There's no reason why they couldn't, but
Didn't they take that out of the PS3 at some point?
no. PS1 games work on every model of the PS3.
Okay.
it was the PS2 games
The
that they took
PS2
out of.
compatibility
After
came
the
out.
first generation of PS3s, they took out the backwards compatibility.
They went from hardware emulation because they had the Emotion Engine chip on the board
Yeah.
to software for like 2 models, and then they ended it after that.
That's so weird.
Yeah, that was a bummer, but yeah. So I don't know. It'll be cool. I don't know that I really need one.
Yeah, I don't need one.
It looks cool.
It's adorable.
It
but-
does look nice. And man, but that controller, those controllers were just
I hope it really emulates the original PlayStation, and that at some point you have to turn it upside down for it to function properly.
Yeah, what if you turn it upside down and it unlocks more games?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Because we had to do after Final Fantasy VII came out, we had to start turning the PlayStation upside down because we were playing it so much.
Yeah.
It would just overheat and like the laser would come out of alignment or something. It was
Yeah.
so fucked up. Yeah,
So
dude,
weird.
it was nuts.
It's pretty messed up. Our play
That was like 4 years into owning it though. I mean, it lasted for a while.
it took some time.
But
But
seriously, where's Kingsfield? Like, I mean, come on.
Well, maybe it's part of the list. They
yeah,
haven't
From
released it
Software
yet.
is big right now. They might. I mean, it would.
You
want to
talk about a fucking hard game?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever got 10 minutes into that game. Like, you die in like the first 5 minutes.
You realize that's made by
I know.
Dark
who
Souls
it's-
and
yeah.
Bloodborne.
Oh, I'm
people.
well aware. I would love to revisit that game now, like knowing what I know about games and how to play those sorts of games. Like I
Yeah.
would love to play that again.
I still have our copy. So.
Do you? Good. In the
it's
big
here.
fat PlayStation box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it came with the
With
card.
the card
the
that
hint
has the
card.
hint number on it.
If you need help in game, call this number 1-800-YOU-SUCK.
Get good.
Yeah, 1-800 get good.
Yeah, that actually fits.
Yeah. All right.
Moving along.
Fortnite.
Fortnite's now been cited in more than 200 divorce proceedings. This is hilarious. Hilarious. People are like, you play too much Fortnite. I'm divorcing you. That's funny. Are you kidding me? Come on. Like, unless you're like meeting chicks on Fortnite and they're actually dudes, but you think they're chicks. I don't know, man. Like, people.
I
are
just wonder
stupid.
how much of it is like these are people who are trying to be streamers out there, spending too much time streaming because that's what you have to do to be a successful
Yeah.
streamer.
It's a lifestyle,
Basically
yeah.
devote your life to it.
Yeah, but that's pretty incredible. That this is in the UK, I think specifically, but
It's just funny.
funny and sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Still, even with a healthy dose of salt being taken, it's an impressive number.
yeah, yeah. So that's a good article on AV Club.
Yeah, we'll move through these pretty quick. So, got a bunch. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the second game to stream on a Nintendo Switch. It's just streaming. They're not actually like, it's not
Yeah.
on the actual
And
system,
Only in Japan.
but only in Japan. They did do Resident Evil 7 as well, which is cool that the Switch has this capability. When are we going to see it in the States? I don't know.
They also they did Phantasy Star Online 2 as well in Japan, but it's a very interesting idea, and I think it gets to the point of like I have Gigabit and PlayStation Now is now playable for me.
Yeah.
Like I can play it without that much
Finally.
lag. So I would be very curious to learn whether or not they've like softened up some of the timing for it in terms of like being able to dodge in combat and stuff, or like I don't know if there's any quick time events or anything in the game,
Or maybe
like what-
Nintendo's figured out some really awesome compression of some
but
sort.
it's possible. But no, it is a very cool service, and it's a great way to get some of the higher end graphical games onto the
Hashtag
system.
Nintendo is Pied Piper
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
from Silicon Valley.
Yep. So yeah.
That's cool. Next. CD Projekt Red is releasing a new RPG set in the world of The Witcher. Supposedly, it's going to be mixing like RPG elements and like card game, like
Yeah.
like mixing in Gwent.
Yeah.
This is very,
card game
it's a
as
very
well.
odd announcement. I
Yeah,
feel.
it came out of nowhere too, because everybody's been riding high on the cyberpunk stuff, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, look, they're working on something else."
It's like, oh, maybe they just need something out there in the world
Yes.
I
They,
to
did
distract people from how long Cyberpunk's
Well,
going
no,
to
they, I mean they know because The Witcher, the people who play The Witcher are pretty like they're pretty hardcore like cult classic style gamers that are like really
Mhm.
into The Witcher. So this game will probably sell, and it's going to fund the next 8 years worth of development for Cyberpunk. So that's good.
well, they still got 70 more to go.
Yeah, they're
after
going to
that,
need
so.
it, but
It's called Thronebreaker. It's due out next month.
it's
I
actually going to
believe.
use your system to mine cryptocurrencies to help pay for the Cyberpunk series moving forward. I made that part up, but
No, it's cool. It's cool that they kind of kept it under wraps, and that this is basically what we're first hearing about it.
is it that they kept it under wraps or that no one really cares?
I guess I don't know. But
Yeah.
October 28th, Xbox One and PS4, following on December 4th. So PC out first, and then Xbox and PS4. But
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. And then Gwent is also coming out of beta on October 28th as well. So they released the Gwent stuff as a side.
I thought that was out.
I didn't even realize it was still in beta.
Well, beta nowadays doesn't really mean much, but yeah. So that's cool. More. It's crazy that I feel like Cyberpunk is probably so all hands on deck that it's weird to me that they're not. That they have other stuff to do right now. But,
Right.
You know, it's hard to tell how big some of these companies really are. So, more Fortnite.
I talked about this earlier.
Yep.
The Nintendo Switch Fortnite bundle is on its way. Comes with a bunch of V-Bucks, like 1,000 V-Bucks or something like that, I think.
How much would that cost with?
I think
actual money?
1,000 V-Bucks is like, I think that's like $10 or something like
Probably.
that. I don't even
Mhm.
know. Oh, or what does it say? Buyers will also receive 1,000 V-Bucks, which can be used to buy premium items or the Battle Pass. Battle Pass, blah blah blah. We all know. If you play Fortnite, you know what the Battle Pass is. Anyways, this is kind of cool. Like I was saying earlier, I think I as soon as they announced Fortnite on the Switch, I was like, this is gonna sell so many Switch consoles, and I still stand by that. I think this is gonna sell. Like now, all those kids who are playing on their mom's cell phone or whatever are gonna be like, Mom, just buy me a Switch, and I won't need your cell phone anymore. And then the mom's gonna be like, okay. And then they'll just go and buy a Switch for $300 because it's cheaper than an $800 iPhone.
That's true.
And then the kid ends up with a Switch and Fortnite and 1,000 V-Bucks, and his mom gets to use her phone to like look at Instagram and Snapchat. So
So the nice thing is you do not need Nintendo Switch Online to play
Correct.
Fortnite
Yep.
online.
The same goes
Much
for
like-
Warframe. I heard.
Much like PS4, not the case for Xbox, where you do need Xbox Live to play Fortnite online. But that's nice. And the only thing I'm a little bummed because they're now starting to announce these cool Switch bundles for different games. Like there's a Pokemon one coming out that has Pikachu and
There's
Eevee on it.
Ugly Smash Brothers one.
Smash Brothers one that's coming. So they're starting to do that stuff with this because they're really good at releasing new 3DSs like every month that have different stuff on them. So I'm kind of bummed that the Fortnite one is just a standard Switch with like a card packed in. But
yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if it had something else.
yeah, if it
going
had
on with
Fortnite
it.
guy on it,
Yeah,
right? Because there's
Fortnite guy. Who's
Is-
Fortnite guy?
The,
Fortnite
the
man.
guy that's on the cover.
I don't know.
The blonde dude.
Sure.
I don't know.
This is my critique of Fortnite not having, but I'm just not 7 years old, so I don't know the backstory of all the Fortnite characters.
Hey man, there's a lot of older married dudes that play Fortnite that are no longer going to be married.
Well, now they got more time for Fortnite.
At least
Exactly.
200 of them.
So, anyways,
Enough for 2 matches.
I
Why
guess
do they have
that's
to be
another-
men? Maybe the women are playing Fortnite, John.
that's another thing
yeah.
they
Don't
need
be
to figure
sexist.
out is that like, I mean, how difficult is it to? You probably have to use like an Elgato or a PC right now to stream from a Switch, right?
Well,
so
and they actually just removed the video capture capability from the Switch version of the game because it was causing a performance hit. Like it was
Really?
dropping frames because of it. So yeah, I think that you're not you would have to be using some type of external card with a PC to stream Fortnite off of a Switch.
or
but
what you do is you set up your iPad or your cell phone on a tabletop like this, where it can still kind of capture you, and then you hold the Switch like this, like to the side.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
a real professional way to do it.
Yeah, some people will do that. I bet.
just got a crop and mask on. Somebody's got like
Yeah.
construction paper overlays on their Switch screen.
streaming live on Periscope some Fortnite in the next 10 minutes.
That would be irritating, like trying to watch one of those screener movies.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh boy. All right. That's good for that. Spider-Man news.
Brian, this one was yours.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually read it. of
Spider-Man has
course.
sold over 3.3 million units in its first 3 days on the market. So,
Yeah. It's a big deal.
This game sold more in its opening week or whatever than the movie did. Like any of the movies have done.
it's I think it deserves it, honestly, after playing it. Like it's the amount of polish and care that went into all this. I listened to the Kind of Funny Games cast. They had the creative director Brian Intihar on, and listening to them talk about the choices that they made and why they made them, and you know what they did in order to kind of craft and make their own Marvel story is really cool. So I think it deserves it. And honestly, like I hope it makes Marvel like one of the first things I saw after this game come out, somebody was on Reddit and was like, "Can I have this now?" And it was a screenshot of Iron Man standing in New York with like game overlay stuff on it. Like, why isn't there an open world Iron Man game?
There is. It's the Lego Marvel series.
That's
and you can
fine
play
and
as
all.
Iron Man, and when he flies around, it's really funny because he's just this little tiny
Yeah.
Lego Iron Man like flying.
Those games are a lot of fun and it plays great, but I really wish that there was like this, I can sit there and upgrade my tech in the workshop and like do like there's a lot of
well, apply
room.
that to any superhero. Like
Yeah.
these games would all be great if they were given this amount of care.
Yes.
Like that's a fact.
Yes.
So I mean, imagine an X-Men game like that, where like you're playing one of the X-Men and it's been given this level of care. Like,
Yeah.
how dope would it be to roll around as Wolverine in like wherever the hell the X-Men actually take place? Does anybody know? Like,
I think it's like upstate New York.
I always
something.
thought it was like London is where Professor X's mansion was,
No, I
but
don't know.
I don't
like
think so.
imagine just like being Logan and like walking around town and like you've got your brown leather jacket on and you see a fight happening in an alley. Some chick's about to get like beat up or something, and you roll in there like, "What's up, bub?" Sneak, and then like your your claws come out, and then you just berserker barrage, like
Well, and that-
destroy these motherfuckers. Like that would be so cool.
That was one of the few good things about X-Men Origins, I think, was that the game that came out was actually better than the movie that came out. Like, it was a really good game that people enjoyed.
Like X-Men First Class.
No, I think it was the X-Men Origins Wolverine game.
Oh
the
yeah.
tie-in
Okay, I
game.
remember. Maybe it was Nick that talked about that at
Yeah,
some point.
or Gojo. I think
yeah,
Gojo.
either
yeah.
or.
But it's. I hope it just opens Marvel's eyes and be like, okay, well, we don't need to like kick out the stupid movie tie-ins like they were doing 5-10 years ago.
I wouldn't be opposed to them having like you have the MCU and then you have like the Marvel game universe, the
That'd
MGU.
be sweet, too,
Like so they're
yeah.
two completely different universes, but they're treated with the same amount of care. I mean, clearly Marvel puts a lot of effort into their movies. Let a company like Insomniac put that same amount of effort into your games.
Well, but it would be even cooler if it was like, hey, what if Square Enix made the Iron Man game and it's kind of like a mech game, but more mobile than that because he's Iron Man.
Yeah.
And like, but it also is in that universe despite it being.
See, I'd imagine it being like the Iron Man game is done by Kojima Productions, and it's
No,
like
nobody wants that.
this sweet Kojima style Iron Man suit,
Oh man,
and there's a baby
It
attached
just
to it
melts
for no
off
reason.
of his body.
Yeah.
a
and he-
baby.
yeah.
Yes.
Some weird baby attached to it.
Anyway,
Iron Baby.
But yeah, Square's still doing the Avengers game, aren't they?
yeah, there's some Avengers game that they're working on. It's Crystal D, I think, is working on it.
but they're owned by
under
Enix
Square Enix, yeah.
yeah,
IDOS,
IDOS,
whatever.
all those
that
game
gigantic
companies.
conglomerate,
conglomerate.
of
Yeah,
many video
SquareSoft
games.
games.
But yeah, I it's cool that it sold a lot and it's a very good game.
Yep.
Cool. Next. Just hit the X, dude.
Shut up.
Okay, there's a Rainbow Six movie coming, and Michael B. Jordan's going to be in it. That's exciting.
Yep.
I don't know if we necessarily need a Rainbow Six movie, but as long as like it has nothing to do with the game, I think I'd be okay with it. Because I don't know how you would even do that, like other than just a ragtag team of special operatives. Here, I'm Tom Clancy. Like, Tom Clancy's dead, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Back again for the first time.
Fortunately for him, so he can't hear your shitty version of his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they've been making Tom Clancy movies for years, obviously.
Yeah, there's a new show
Oh,
on
yeah.
Amazon Prime.
The Jack Ryan
There's
show.
got to be like
Mhm.
dozens of times.
with
Yeah,
with
where
John
he- where-
Krasinski, and
yeah, where-
supposedly that show's actually really good.
Yeah.
I
You call
haven't
it
watched
the
it
Jack
yet.
Ryan show. It's him interviewing people and then stopping nuclear threats.
I like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
I think he's a great actor. I think he will do whatever role he plays justice. I don't. What's it gonna be about?
Yeah, I
Like-
don't know. Like it sounds like they're. I feel like it would probably be Rainbow Six in name only, other than maybe
Or maybe
involving like a-
it follows the original book Rainbow Six, which actually had like a full story arc with particular characters. Which actually, I read somewhere, it was probably on the subreddit, the Rainbow Six subreddit, that a lot of the tools and gadgets of the operators we use in the game are actually in the original Rainbow Six book.
That's cool.
Interesting.
So, like Pulse's like heartbeat sensor was something that was like brought into the original Rainbow Six book. Like that
That's
was
awesome.
that was written in there. So like there's a lot of that. Like I would be okay with some of that being brought in. You know, like
Yeah.
I just don't want it to be some like buddy cop like James Bond style something or other. Like I hope they just it has to be really badass.
What if it's about Michael B. Jordan is the best Rainbow Six Siege player in the world, and he gets sucked into some type of big world outbreak?
He gets
plot.
pulled through a portal and he becomes the Rainbow Six.
Or I was thinking there's a Rainbow Six arcade game, and he gets the high score on it, and then
And it sucks him
they
into the game.
abduct him to become
you
a
s-
super agent.
This
in
game
Rainbow
was
Six.
engineered to find the biggest and brightest and best of all our service members. And then they bring Michael B. Jordan in, and he still looks like Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kilgore, Killmonger, Kilgrave, all these Marvel enemies.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Fulgore was in Killer Instinct.
they're so creative. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I like Michael B. Jordan. I like Rainbow Six. I want to see where this goes. I'm not 100% sure. I was hoping they'd just make him play Castle because Castle's the only black actor or black character in the game. So,
That's not
well,
true,
not
is
now
it?
that they added Clash, they've got two.
That's
but-
true.
That would be interesting if
Yeah.
you played Clash.
If he played Clash, breaking gender stereotypes,
Yeah.
There you go.
all in one go.
All right. Next up, PlayStation Now is making some of its games downloadable.
I was hoping this article would immediately follow the. I don't even remember which one it was earlier.
The PlayStation Classic. Thing.
Yeah, the PlayStation Classic, but it didn't. Because you were mentioning that you finally have fast enough internet to play PlayStation Now.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, I guess you don't need it anymore because you can just download the games.
Yeah.
Well, you can only download PS4 and PS2 games. You cannot
Okay.
download the PS3 games because the architecture for the PS3 was so insane that they're not.
Do you think they just have like a farm of PS3s running those
It
games?
is a farm of cell processors sitting on server blades
Yes.
that are just.
Yeah, some chappy shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like,
but
we don't know what we did to make this work,
Yeah,
and we
there's-
have no way to engineer something to emulate it.
some
So
type of black
here.
magic in the cell processor that they cannot recreate with software. So, so PlayStation Now is the service where you used to be able to stream games. They were PS2 through PS4 games that you could play over the internet for some low fee. I think when it's on sale, it's $10 a month right now. And right now, you can still, if you're listening to this the moment it comes out, on September 25th, they will take away the ability to pay $100 for 12 months, which is probably the best price and the most fitting price that they have for this, essentially paying less than $10 a month. But so you'll be able to download PS2 and PS4 games. You can still stream PS3 games with it. I don't know if you are forced to download them now, if they're like, okay, we're just going to free up server space or whatever and make you download these instead of playing them. But with the advent of the Xbox Game Pass, I think we saw this one coming at least, and it's cool that it's finally happening. But
Yeah, it just took forever.
it did take quite a
I feel
while.
like the Game Pass has more to offer, but I could be wrong about that.
I think in terms of the sheer number of games, PlayStation Now hasn't beat because the Xbox Game Pass is like 100 games
I just
or
mean
something like
like
that. But like the variety and depth.
Yeah, and the monetary value of those games, because there's
Yes
a lot
and
of new
no.
ones on there.
Yeah, that's the thing is that with Microsoft being like, we're actually going to put Sea of Thieves and stuff up there day one when the game comes out. You know, Sony's not
I
going
want to know how
put-
many people still haven't purchased Sea of Thieves and they're only playing it through Game Pass.
That would be interesting to hear. I don't
Yeah,
know
it'd
that
be-
they'll ever come out
Be
with
an
that.
interesting stat to see.
But, you know, Sony's never going to put God of War 2018 and Spider-Man up there, at least not for several years,
Yeah.
with it selling 3.3 million copies in 3
Mhm.
days. So, but a good move in the right direction. I think it's cool. So,
Cool.
and then the big one.
Sad one.
Yeah.
Telltale. Telltale's done.
Telltale Games is mostly dead.
Mostly dead. They've basically fired everybody except for a handful of developers and programmers to basically carry out their contractual obligations to shareholders, is what I was reading.
They fired 250 people. They've left a skeleton crew of 25 people to, as John said, to fulfill the company's obligation to its board and partners. They have effectively canceled The Walking Dead Season 4, which Season 2 is actually coming out this Tuesday, but there will be no more episodes of The Walking Dead in this season.
You mean, what? Oh.
The rest of the season is canceled.
Ooh.
So they are putting out episode 2 because it was due out this week anyway. But after that, I don't know if there's a conclusive ending to it or not.
That's really annoying.
Yeah, it sucks. Other than that, The Wolf Among Us Season 2 is canceled. Stranger Things is canceled. And
I was curious about the Stranger Things one.
yeah, it would have been cool. And I'm sad. Like it sounds like they at least had a lot of work done on The Wolf Among Us, but the fact that none of it.
I wonder what the hell went so wrong.
You know, it's got to be a couple
Using
different
that
things.
shitty engine.
It looked
for
like
3
this year.
years or
Well,
whatever.
I mean, I think that's part of it. But like, it looks like last November they laid off like 90 people, which is apparently 25% of their workforce. So the fact that, you know, like I think the fact that they're canceling Walking Dead in the middle of the season to me sounds like they were probably banking on The Walking Dead Season 4 being big for them, and maybe it wasn't as big as they needed it to be.
Mm.
But Telltale was one of those things where that first season of The Walking Dead came out and then they exploded. They're like, we're putting out, we're going to do a Game of Thrones game. We're going to have The Wolf Among Us. We're going to do the Batman stuff. And they just kept adding and adding and adding. They did Guardians of the Galaxy. They did Borderlands. They did Minecraft Story Mode. They had all of this stuff. They blew up really quickly.
I think they made too many games.
They made a whole. They kept doing the same thing with different stories, which is fine. But the fact that like the base engine of the game was kind of garbage anyway, made it all feel very samey. And then on top of that, like it was a little. You had to expect some jank anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the bubble just kind of burst on Telltale style video games, which is really sad. But I think they like really flooded the market pretty quickly because I mean that's the thing. I think they gained most of that 250 people who got fired within a couple years of the first season of The Walking Dead coming out. So,
on the plus side, Ubisoft put out open calls to any Telltale's employees to come and interview with them and have some food and talk about the industry. So
I saw some quotes from former Telltale employees that were saying there were people that relocated their lives to come work at Telltale in the past week or two that got fired like on Friday.
That's just shameful.
And then also it sounds like there are a lot of people. That's one of the things in the games industry that's always been interesting is that they're really good at reaching out to like, oh, there's all of this talent that just got let go.
Mm-hmm.
We can use this and we can help them. Essentially, it's kind of double-edged, but why not?
Well, yeah, I mean, how
That's the
else are we
point.
going to end up with 27 more Assassin's Creed games? We need this. The
Yeah.
industry needs this.
So they also like nobody got any severance or anything. Like
Yep.
they didn't get any.
Everyone was cut.
They were told they were fired and they had 30 minutes to get out of the building.
That's such
30
shit.
minutes.
Yeah.
That's such bull. I mean, that's pretty standard for corporate layoffs like that. Like you're lucky to get 30 minutes to get out, and you're not just escorted out by security as soon as they fire you.
Well, they probably didn't have any security. They were fired too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So there's on this Verge article, they did have this link here that apparently in the past couple months, there were revelations that Telltale was a studio mired in toxic management that included employees being subjected to constant overwork. The former CEO, Kevin Bruner, sued the company seeking recovery of financial damages this past June. And it just sounds like things were a mess, and they probably just grew too big too quickly, is my guess. So, that really sucks. It sucks for anybody who was a fan of The Walking Dead and excited about this season that picked up the first episode like a month ago or whenever it came out.
Are they going to get some kind of refund if they paid for the whole season?
I don't know. I'm not
That's
sure.
Not really
The
fair
way that
either.
they've been doing that has been weird enough that I don't know that anybody, if they're still doing the pay for it all up front anymore or not. I don't know. I doubt anybody's going to get a refund. But more so than the fans of The Walking Dead, it sucks for all the people that got let go, because that's a horrible way to have it happen. There's
Yeah.
been a bunch of heartbreaking tweets. The dude who said something like, "Don't work overtime. Your company doesn't care about you."
Yeah.
Like, you know, just confirming everybody's worst fears about that corporate, crunch time video game lifestyle that ends up happening. So, I hope everybody out there lands on their feet and, can continue making sweet games for us to play. So,
Indeed. Cool. That's it for the news. Let's talk about Tomb Raider. I did not play it. I have not had that much time. Also, I still have not finished Rise of the Tomb Raider. Which
despite it, I believe, being your game of the year that year.
Not that year.
I think so.
I don't know. I'll go back.
I
and look.
listened to our episode, and you were very, very happy with it, but I can't remember what else came out.
So
that
happy
year.
you didn't finish it. And the last third, I would say, of that game is the best.
Okay.
Yeah. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Yeah, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I finished Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I was excited for this one to come out. It's the last of the
Reboot trilogy.
Yeah, the Lara Croft's origin story, I guess.
Yeah.
'Cause she really needed that.
Because she becomes the Tomb Raider in the game titled Shadow of the Tomb Raider, not Rise of the Tomb Raider or Tomb Raider.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yes.
Interesting.
Anyways, so far, it's pretty wild. Like that, and I don't think it's really a spoiler. That whole tsunami scene was pretty insane.
Yeah, there's a pretty big catastrophe at the start of the game.
Yeah.
And
I won't say why that happened because that would be a spoiler. But yeah, it's very pretty. I really like the fact that there's no HUD. That's super cool.
yeah.
It was my
That-
number 2 that year.
Okay. Good to know.
I just looked it up.
What was number 1?
Dying Light.
Okay.
Gameplay wise, it feels like Tomb Raider.
More of the same.
My only complaint so far is I felt like when I had to fight those jaguars that it felt kind of janky.
That's horrible.
I really didn't enjoy
It
that part.
sucked pretty bad.
But I mean, doing the stealth kills on the regular dudes and stuff was cool.
What about
Like,
the
the bow
huge dudes?
still
Are there
feels
huge
good.
dudes?
There's
They-
not a
they
whole
were-
lot of huge dudes.
They
in
were
there.
just standard,
Just
size dudes.
standard size dudes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Average dudes?
It looks good. I already said that, but the HDR part doesn't work right for me. It's
Yeah, it didn't.
it
That's the thing
makes
for me.
it way too dark.
The HDR to me didn't really make it pop all that much.
No,
Comparing
yeah.
it to something like Spider-Man, but Spider-Man's a lot more
Yeah.
vivid and less samey in color than Tomb Raider is. So
Yeah, the whole jungle setting is pretty cool. I only did one of the I really haven't played that much, unfortunately, but I enjoyed the
Challenge
one
Tomb.
challenge tomb I did. That it was much more lengthy than the old ones and were just more involved in general, mechanically.
Yeah, because the other ones were just one big room and had one giant mechanical puzzle that you had to figure out. So you're saying this time around it's more elaborate than that, or there's multiple rooms,
I mean,
or
it involved smaller puzzles just to that you had to solve to traverse
to
through the tomb.
to pace your way through the
Yeah.
area. That's cool. I like that. That feels more traditional Tomb Raider to me.
Yeah, it felt like raiding a tomb, actually.
Yeah, you were raiding one,
Yeah.
in one.
I don't know if
you had broken into it and you were there to take stuff out of it, like a raider
Yeah, basically.
in the tomb.
Yeah. And I had a shadow while I was raiding the tomb.
There was good lighting, so there were
Yeah.
shadows.
Well, I mean, somewhat,
except for the HDR.
except for the HDR.
Decent lighting. When you were able to light torches, you could then see the shadow of your Tomb Raider.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
cool.
I don't really know.
Everyone's already lost interest.
I
in
haven't
this.
played like long enough to know exactly where the story is going. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping there's some twists and stuff. Like, I'm not super impressed with the writing so far. It's just whatever.
That's so I did get to a little bit of a twist, but I'm also on the same page. Even like I still think, and I will go back to my line from that previous review of, I think Uncharted tops the story of any Tomb Raider game any day. And I used to think the gameplay of Tomb Raider was better, but after this one, I'm not sure anymore. Like,
Is it just because
Well-
it feels like more of the same, or like
it feels like more of the same, and I don't necessarily know how much they're pushing it in new directions, but also like this game lost a bit of the polish. Like the Jaguar fight alone
It was
that you were
terrible.
saying is really bad. There's like literally no way to be good at fighting those.
Yeah, and like you're basically constantly scrambling is
Yeah.
the only way to stay alive. But there's like no tell like from the Jaguar on when you should be scrambling, when you should dodge out of the way.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sense. So really, I just kept hitting B like over and over again.
Exactly, and there's nothing elegant about that fight.
No.
The catastrophe that happens in the beginning, like some of that stuff in Uncharted games, the idea of like, oh, you are running after a plane that is taking off that you are trying to get onto. You're in a Jeep that's driving up to a plane that is currently on the runway that you need to get on that plane. I like how that game makes you an active participant in those big catastrophes, but also doesn't really allow you to fail at them. Whereas with Tomb Raider, I feel like there were so many needless deaths because I didn't quite time the jump just right. Like,
yeah, but
see,
they're
that's-
hilarious.
that's-
like, I
that in
laughed
and
out
of
loud every
itself-
time I got impaled on spikes.
that in and
stuff.
of itself is very classic Tomb Raider. I mean, imagine doing like you go to jump a cliff and do a swan dive into a pool of water that's like the size of a quarter, and you break your neck and die. Like that's funny. Like. Like it used to suck to do it because you'd bump you pretty far back in the level,
thing the
but
load
that was
times are
that was
quick.
like that was a Tomb Raider like trope was like
Steep.
doing stupid shit like that.
and that's fair, but when you're trying to make me feel like Lara Croft is this like super experienced, awesomely good Tomb Raider person,
She's not. She's like 20, dude.
whatever. I mean, that's fine and all, but it's not. It takes me out of the game when I die 7 times at the same spot because the way that the jump timing is supposed to happen isn't very clear to
Did
me.
that actually happen to you?
Yes, it did. On a
I-
couple
I
on a couple
haven't,
occasions actually. I don't know that
Yeah.
it would be a problem for everybody. Like maybe it was just me, maybe it was coming off of Spider-Man. I don't know what
And
it
they're
was
trying to
exactly.
sling webs.
Yeah,
and
Were
then
those,
you
like,
just
She
quick
doesn't
time?
shoot any webs anywhere.
Were
It's
those
bullshit.
like quick time style events or something?
There's
or,
a couple of those.
I wouldn't really call it like a quick time event.
or like you were just running through an area and like hit a jump wrong and died.
yes,
Okay.
more like that.
See that like I get that, but I feel like the comparison to Uncharted in that you've got the sequence of events where like you're not supposed to fail, like it doesn't allow you to fail or whatever.
It's not
Like
that,
if you were doing the same sort of thing in Tomb Raider, I feel like it's the same way. Like if you're, I think it might have been the first one in 2013 Tomb Raider. She's sliding down this like mudslide thing, and you've got to dodge these like planks of wood that are in the water and shit, so you don't die. You can't like. I feel like it's a similar. I keep burping. I'm sorry. I feel like it's a similar thing where like you're quick timing your way around these like little things to avoid them, and I don't know if you actually
It's
can
a
really
new
fail.
action. Quick timing.
I get that, and I get like in the challenge tombs, there's time where there's traps, and if you're not looking close enough, you hit the tripwire and a bunch of spears come out and impale you. Fine, that's Tomb Raider.
They give you a
That makes
second to
sense to
react
me.
to that if you fuck up.
Yes, that too. But also, the fact of like there's this huge catastrophe going on. It's like a big like hurricane or monsoon type thing with big pieces of land like washing across the streets and like all of that type of stuff where I feel like what they want me to do is appreciate the spectacle and the scope of what's going on and not so much the timing of a jump. I think they're taking me out of this big piece of art that they've made because I'm not hitting A at the right time.
I
And
think-
that to me sucks when I would much rather be like, oh my God, I feel like the biggest badass in the world because I just traversed that so quick. Even if it's an illusion of like, oh, there was no way, like you would have to sit there as Nathan Drake and fall off of the plane or something. Like I want to be in the headspace of what's going on in front of me rather than sitting there being like, oh, I didn't quite hit A soon enough
I got
to
you.
continue on. Like
get what you're
it's
saying.
they're detracting from the thing that they made by
Right.
making it limited to this little window.
So you'd rather watch Tomb Raider the movie than play Tomb Raider?
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. I think Uncharted is a good way of faking you into thinking that you're awesome.
Gotcha.
I don't think Tomb Raider does that for me.
See, I feel like what's changed at this point, like you said, you used to think Tomb Raider had the better gameplay, but Uncharted, obviously, better writing.
Yeah.
I think maybe what's changed is since Tomb Raider came out, Uncharted 4 came out.
Yeah.
And that's probably, to me, it seems like it's way more polished from all perspectives, including gameplay, than the old Uncharted games.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I
I didn't
mean,
actually play it. I'm just
I
I'm asking
think
you 'cause
that
you have.
that's I feel like each Uncharted game has upped the ante in a lot of story ways and in spectacle ways as well. Like that whole plane thing was in the third one, and I know it gets even further and more crazy in the fourth. And they pull it off really well. Tomb Raider might get there. I should qualify this with I've only played about half of the game. I didn't get to the end, but I don't feel like this feels like the most obligatory Tomb Raider game that there has been. This is like we said we were doing a trilogy, so here's number 3.
It's not even it's not even made by the studio that made the other two
Yeah, it's
games.
not Crystal D. This is the Deus Ex.
Yeah, Eidos Montreal. I
Yeah,
think.
Eidos Montreal are the ones that developed this one, but it just does not feel like anybody wanted to make this game. It feels like it is just there to exist as like the third in the Tomb Raider trilogy because we said we were doing one. And I'm being harsh there. I think it plays well in most cases, and I think if you liked Tomb Raider, this is more of it, and it's good. But there's not much special about it to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Tomb Raider 2013 existed because Uncharted outdid Tomb Raider, and I got it. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider was a kind of the reaction of like, here's what worked in the first one, and here's what didn't, and we're going to push it even more. We're going to give you more tombs. We're going to make it more puzzly. But I don't feel as though this third one has that central thesis of like, here's what we did wrong, here's what we want to do different. It just feels like more.
Right, more of the same.
And that's fine.
So it kind of lives up to its title. It's living in the shadow of Tomb Raider, the 2013.
The shadow is being cast by Uncharted 4's massive sales numbers, apparently.
Oh.
That's harsh,
Um,
but justified.
And I'll say here, I was like, Brian lent me his copy that he purchased to play, which is very nice of him. Because you had other stuff you were doing this weekend.
I was still just
Destiny.
sucked
Playing
in-
Destiny.
Yeah, and I had social obligations.
So, but I was kind of happy to give it back to you because I was like, I want to get back to Spider-Man. You know, that's the other thing. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is because it's in the shadow of Spider-Man too. Like I think there's a lot of people out there on Twitter that are like, man, I really like Tomb Raider, but Spider-Man came out first and it's really good, and I want to keep playing it. And there's a lot of it. So I think that'll be what people are kind of caught up on as
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know.
I definitely I look forward to playing Spider-Man at some point. I do sort of own that too, but I
Yeah.
haven't touched it.
Yeah. I walked into our local video store to try and pick up a copy of Tomb Raider to finish, because if they had it, I was going to do it, but they didn't. You know, they had one copy on Xbox that people had totally rented out the whole week, but I did not. I was playing it out of obligation. Like it was not I really enjoyed Rise of the Tomb Raider, but I did not feel a pull to this one at all, and it doesn't feel like, even getting halfway through it, that I don't feel bitten by the bug. I'm not
Yeah.
going to go buy it.
I was playing it and I'm like, there's things in Destiny I want to finish.
Yeah. It'll be $12 in a Humble Bundle in like a year, and maybe I'll get it then, but you know.
Yeah, I'd like to play it on PC.
I'm sure it looks like, and that's the thing, it does look fantastic.
Yeah,
think
you
Humble
played
or-
on the X.
I was on the
too,
Xbox.
yeah.
This is
You
the
have an
first
X.
real like game that I play other than a little bit of Sea of Thieves on the X, and I think it's mostly pretty great. What was I gonna say about the? I had some sort of comment about it. There were a few times that were weird that I would reach the end of the, like, you know how they hide the load screens in these games nowadays with like she's heading through a crevice or she's walking through mud. I would get to the end of like the mud pool and it would still stop and like these words at the bottom of the screen would say like now stream loading or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, they couldn't quite tune that right even on the X. Like the game feels unpolished from a lot of other standpoints too. There are times where I would be locked in an animation fighting a jaguar per se. And there would be like an item near me with X, and I'd accidentally hit X, and I would hear Lara say something in a very calm voice of like, I have too much of that already, as this jaguar is like eating her face. So it was like, there's a lot of little things that are just pulling me out of the game because they don't really quite, it feels like they left a little bit on the table in terms of like the final polish.
I gotcha.
Even Gladish, I think, was playing on PS4, and he said that he was getting this camera glitch where it was like spinning around him. Which I think was something that also happened to me when I played Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Huh. I haven't had anything like that happen for me so far, but I'm sure it will.
It's just little stuff here and there. It's not stuff that like makes the game shit, because it's not. It's still good. It's still a AAA.
Did they add like anything new to the gameplay though? So far, I haven't acquired anything that's like different than the old games.
Tool-wise, at least in the first half, I don't think I've seen anything different. I think they have more like a very different type of plants. Like there's health plants, and there's perception plants. I don't think that was in the second one.
Not the perception.
They also added mud camouflage, so you can add. Lara, you can hit a button to make her like mud her face up, and then she can hide in these like darker walls with like a bunch of like brush and stuff in front of them or whatnot. But it's just
cool.
It's a little bit of an addition to the stealth stuff, and it makes the stealth stuff work a little bit more fluidly. You can kind of traverse while stealthing a little bit more because there's like walls connecting plant areas that you would crouch down in and like cover. So
the stealth was going so well for me, like in the first part in Cozumel where you have to actually like fight dudes, not huge dudes, just standard size dudes,
standard issue
but
dudes.
there's like a lot of them.
Thank you for clarifying.
So I was like just stealth killing the shit out of that squad, and then all of a sudden I broke cover. I don't even know how, and like when all hell broke loose, I just died like immediately. Like apparently you just can't get in a gunfight anymore.
And that's the other. That's I guess that might be one of the things about Uncharted that I like too, is that like it makes some sense that like Nathan Drake's supposed to be this dude who can like fist fight. The fact that Lara does none of that kind of sucks. Like I wish there was some type of actionable fighting you could do when you're face to face with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, and that doesn't really happen in this game.
You'd think she would have taken a self-defense class.
Like actual physical contact instead of like you're standing 2 feet in front of someone and you're holding up an M16.
Yeah, exactly. Like, or your bow and arrow. Yeah, you're drawing a bow point blank at a dude's head. It's like, what the hell? She should be able to throw some punches and at least put up a little bit of a fight. Even if you're gonna make that harder or whatever, like that's fine. Like that makes sense being right in front of people. But all of the guards are dumb as rocks until they know that you're there, and then they become fucking sharpshooters, and it's really weird.
Yeah, there was just like this hail of bullets from everywhere, and I was like, wait, what?
Yep. And the jaguars, there's just jaguars jumping at you as you're getting shot at.
So many jaguars. They look dumb, too. Like, they have, like, dopey faces.
Yeah, it's stupid jaguars. Dumbest looking jaguars in video games.
No, I mean, like, when they first appear, they look pretty cool. But then when you're fighting them, they just look dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They look like, what's his name from Tekken, I bet?
King,
yeah. It's just a jaguar mask.
Yeah. Yeah. So
why does like the second most important character in the game call her Laura?
Yeah. I think
That's
they would have
not her
gotten on the
name.
right page in the beginning. Like, that's Lara, everybody, not Laura. That's one of the things about like voice acting that's always interesting is like, oh, these people are appearing in a scene together, but they didn't talk about how they were going to pronounce this name right. So then you
In
hear
the
two
script
different
he got,
pronunciations.
it was all written in.
I
as
think
There was a
Laura.
U in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
The IDOS team is working on the Avengers game, right?
No, that's Crystal D.
That's Crystal D.
Yeah.
Which is why they didn't make this game.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So
That's a bummer.
it's not. The thing is, it's not horrible. It's just not special.
I
to
do
me.
Right.
feel like it would have been better if Crystal Dynamics would have made it though.
Stuck with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I you know,
Like
I've
seen it through all the way.
yeah, it's a shame that they don't get to finish out their trilogy.
I mean, I'd rather Eidos Montreal be making another Deus Ex game instead, but apparently they had to make this.
yeah, the fact that there's not like, oh, here's the third like Deus Ex 2 or
Yeah.
not 2, but the second
It
new
ended
one
in a weird spot.
ended in a weird spot and apparently
But it-
didn't do well enough for them to make a third one. Like
I've been told, or from what I read, it sounds like it's not out of the question that they will make another one. It's just they're not doing it anytime soon.
yeah.
It's not in the plan.
So that's fine, I guess, you know, and Cyberpunk, you know, whenever that they got a whole 70 years to make another Deus Ex, so.
Yep.
And, you know, on the topic of polish, there was a really good GIF that I saw on Reddit from Spider-Man. It's when me and the boys get Heelys. This is pretty incredible. That's the thing. Spider-Man has a little, like, I didn't see this happen in my game, but there was one point where I was looking at a roof. You have to do these little things where, like, Black Cat is leaving calling cards at places she's robbing,
Yeah.
and she kind of sets up spots for Spider-Man to find. Like, you have to look into a camera and find where she's put it. And I looked off into the distance, and there's just this one rooftop of a bunch of people in a T-pose like this. So I took a screenshot of it. I got to post it. It's pretty good.
They were doing Tai Chi
Yeah.
on the roof.
You know, so speaking of polish,
It's one of those Japanese-owned companies.
I thought this game was super polished. You
it
said.
is super polished. It is. This is one thing that I've seen, and then the T-pose thing that I saw is something that I wouldn't have necessarily even
What makes it
noticed.
so funny is how the dude on the right is like rock solid, and like his clothes are still kind of like shaking. Like,
Yeah. It's really good.
and the dude on the left, like his gun's just hanging by his side as if he's walking with it, but it's not. Like,
That clothing animation's amazing.
Yeah.
Like the
no.
way the tie flops and
I did not see this happen in the game, so it's not.
it really
This
looks
might have
like
been-
Heelys though.
This might have been somebody who missed the day one patch or something like that and
That's
wanted
so
to pull
funny.
out things that look bad, but it was pretty good. So, yeah. But anyway, enough about Tomb Raider.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say if you played the other two, still play this one.
Yeah, if you really liked Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Tomb Raider 2013, there's more here, and it's good. It's fine, but
But it does live in the shadow of the other Tomb Raider games.
yeah, it is aptly named.
right on.
Cool.
Well, if you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGamers.com/links. The Midwest Podcast Network now has a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the network. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month to help keep all of our shows alive and well. Check it out at patreon.com/MidwestPodnet. That's patreon.com/MIDWESTPODNET. And as always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch, as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher, such as iTunes or Google Play Podcasts. Yeah, I'm not sure what we're doing next. but
Are you going to pick up Assassin's Creed or no? I don't think any of us are
Not
really that
anytime
looking forward
soon.
to it.
I have a lot of Origin left to play.
So our next episode is going to be on October 7th, or no? Yeah,
I already know what I'm going to be playing before that.
Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Brian's going to probably talk about some Forza.
Forza
I
Horizon.
may or may
Forza.
not pick up Mega Man. I'm definitely picking up Super Mario Party.
Oh,
so
I didn't
maybe-
realize that was out so soon.
Maybe we should.
We need to do like a like a stream
We
of
should
us
stream that
playing
somehow. Yeah,
We really
that'd be
should.
cool.
That would be pretty good.
I was gonna pick that up too. I think. But
Yeah.
Can you share play like on one console with
Yeah.
others to do the multi-console?
I
stuff?
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know, but we'll have at least 2 copies of it, so we'll be good
Yeah.
either way.
Cool.
And yeah, so that it looks like before our next episode, Super Mario Party, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Mega Man 11, and Forza Horizon 4.
Wow.
Oh, Astrobot Rescue Mission is
Oh,
coming
of
out for
course.
PSVR. It is a longer version of that demo from Playroom.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have to pick up that too. We're
Yeah.
also getting Firewall 0 Hour.
Yes.
So we'll have a few things to talk about.
What is Batman the Enemy Within?
I think that's the Telltale game,
Oh,
potentially. Let me take a look.
that's it.
Yes, it is a Telltale game. I wonder if that's still coming out.
It's just
so
a Switch port of it.
yeah, it's a Switch port of I think season 2 of the Telltale game.
Okay.
So that's coming to Switch, but maybe, who knows?
Cool.
Yeah.
What else is up with the network? Anything?
The Horror Movie Yearbook Boys just put out another episode of their show that I have not listened to yet. It's the class of 1991, The People Under the Stairs, which if I recall correctly from like the VH1 I Love the 90s, is a very messed up movie. So I'm excited to hear them talk about it.
Also one of my favorite hip hop groups.
The People Under the Stairs.
People Under the Stairs. Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, it looks like they do some what they've been watching. Willie also did go to the set of It Chapter 2.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
he
he
talks
did.
about that on here, and he shared a bunch of pictures in our Discord as well. And it looks like they also ranked some Wes Craven movies as well. So it should be pretty good. Other than that, not a whole lot going on. Still figuring out what future plans might be since TV ended, but
All of TV.
yeah, it's all done. There's no more of it. So,
Right on.
but yeah.
Cool. Well, everybody, thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Peace.